Sergeant Randall Becker. Today, Chief Becker completes a very distinguished career with well over 31 years of faithful and honorable service to our nation. We are celebrating this achievement with his family, friends, and fellow 920th Rescue Warriors. We are honored today to have Commander 920th Maintenance Group, Colonel Charlene Nelson, as our presiding officer, and I am Senior Master Sergeant Ferris Rigsby. We request you please turn off your pagers and your phones or put them in the silent mode, please. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the singing of the national anthem and the invocation.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I would like to introduce Chief Master Sergeant Retired Michael Schooley, the first Command Chief of the 920th upon its designation as a rescue wing, who will be delivering the invocation.
Will you pray with me? Dear Lord, we come to you on this special day. We lift our hearts in prayer. We thank you for our friend and colleague, Randy Becker. We are grateful for his family who have been at his side in support of his dedicated service to his country. We know that Karen is smiling on this special day. We ask that you bless Randy on the uncharted road ahead and the divine joy on the paths he will take. We look to your words, O Lord, the words of strength we find in Joshua chapter 1, verse 9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid, nor be dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Amen.
Thank you, Chief Schooley and Tech Sergeant Kearns. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. In keeping with one of the oldest traditions in the military service, we pay special tribute to Chief Master Sergeant Randall Becker on the occasion of his retirement from the United States Air Force Reserves. First, we welcome Chief Becker's family and several distinguished guests in the audience today. Please allow me to introduce a few of them. Please welcome Chief Becker's family. Chief Becker's daughter, Andrea Hartman, and her husband, Nathan. Chief Becker's sons, Adam and Alex. Chief Becker's sisters, Patricia Salvaggio and Barbara Sadie, and husband Daniel, a Vietnam vet. Chief Becker's brother Gary, brother-in-law Gary Salvaggio, and daughter-in-law Stina Becker, who were unable to attend. Will Chief Becker's sisters please rise and face the crowd? Chief Becker's parents, Edna and Eugene Becker, were not up to the trip from Missouri. Will you please stand and show how the 920th Rescue Wing appreciates their father's service on the Korean Peninsula? Thank you. Please welcome the following distinguished guests. The 920th Rescue Wing Commander, Colonel Jeffrey McCarrender. The 920th Rescue Wing Command Chief, Chief Timothy Bianchi. The 920th Operations Group Commander, Colonel Mark Blaylock. The 920th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron Commander, Lieutenant Colonel David Cooksey. The 94th Maintenance Group Commander, Colonel Augusto Casado. Retired Colonel and former 920th Maintenance Group Commander George Pierce and his wife Robin. Retired Colonel Peter Colangelo and wife Hilda. Retired Lieutenant Colonel 301st DCM Jerry Meyer. We also extend a hearty welcome to other family members, friends, all commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, and members of the 920th Rescue Wing. The military retirement ceremony is steeped in military tradition and history. It is a milestone which very few of our nation's citizens ever experience, and an honor bestowed upon those few who have chosen to spend the greatest portion of their adult life in service to their country, placing the nation's needs ahead of their own. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce the presiding officer for today's ceremony, the 920th Maintenance Group Commander, Colonel Charlene Nelson.
Thank you. Welcome. There's not many times that we get to honor someone with a history like Chief Becker has. And I'm very honored that Colonel McCrander, Chief Bianchi, Colonel Blaylock, you guys can be here for this. Especially honored that Colonel Pierce and Colonel Casado could join us as well, because I know you've been part of the family with Chief Becker for a long, long time. Thank you. Can you hear me now? My button was on. I will tell you that the big thing that moves me is spending some time with Chief Becker's daughter this morning and his family. I can't tell you how much we appreciate his service, and a lot of my comments are going to be for you, because I want you to understand that Chief Becker's service, and you go back and you look through his records, and he stayed in the Navy for a little while. But when he joined us as a staff sergeant, and going back through his history, it's like a flashback from Colonel McCrander's history of the wing. There's not one thing that this wing has done that Chief Becker hasn't been involved in. I look back and I look at the deployments, whether it's Kuwait, Afghanistan, taking care of folks from Katrina, and every other big thing that this wing has done. Chief Becker has been at the center of it all. And this wing is very proud of the fact that the motto is, these things we do that others may live. And your father, brother, he's actually been the embodiment of what we stand for throughout his entire career. And we do know that that has been at a cost to being with his family many, many times. I look back through the deployment history and I see how many birthdays he missed and how many anniversaries and how many holidays. And I want to sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart for you sharing Chief Becker with us in the wing and all of the men and women in the 920th. Thank you very much. So Chief, your history is the wing history. But now let's talk about the man just a little bit. Have you ever had any dealings with Chief Becker? Sometimes he seems like the crew chief's chief. Sometimes he seems like an old school, and I'm just going to say it, kick-ass chief, because that's what he does sometimes. I recall the first time I met him, and he's a little shy and unassuming. Wait, we're talking Chief Becker, right? The first time we met, he was all up in my face about something for his troops. And I was all up, okay, we can do this. And then he's like, are we okay? I said, yeah, Chief. Are we okay? He said, yes, Colonel. And that's started our relationship that I could always depend on Chief Becker to tell me how it really was. He always stood up when he felt I did something wrong. And as a commander, for the commanders out there, you know that is your number one thing, is to have a chief, a wingman, to make sure that you're doing the right things for folks. And I've always appreciated that about you, Chief. And the name, acronym, description of Mama Bear has actually been used in reference to anytime somebody said or did anything with his folks that he didn't agree about, he was right there like a mama bear. I mean, you just didn't want to be right in front of him because he's very protective of his folks. Coming from outside the wing a few years ago, I think sometimes as a wing, and definitely I don't think Chief Becker realizes how amazing it is. I mean, here sits a man with a Bronze Star. Here sits a man who has been a part of making sure that other people got to come home to their families. And in the Air Force Reserve, we all serve, but especially in this wing, the type of service, let's not take that for granted. And finally, talking a little bit about the man. We want to continue to talk a little bit about the man. I know my ops friends and buddies have never ever had Chief Becker tell you no, right? But probably he has, right? There's always a good, healthy push and pull with operators who are flying the aircraft and maintenance who are fixing them. That's how we get the mission done, but make sure the fleet is safe. And that's one thing that I can say is the Chief always looked out for the fleet. Never hesitated to stand up when there was a difference. And I will say, Chief, that when you were wrong, you admitted it, and we went on, and that takes a lot. But I think one of the things that have happened is on the helicopter side, as you guys know, for the folks in the unit, flown them pretty hard, pretty long. Now the 130s are old too, but the helicopters, I mean, I was not a helicopter person when I got here. I was a big airplane gal. So I know they go up and they come down. But helicopters beat the air just mission to get off the ground, and then they vibrate with every move they make. Everything's a vibration. And the mission that this wing has done has really taken its toll. And not that the Chief would ever say an operator would break his plane, sir. But I would say that because aircraft 230 was probably one of our more interesting planes that was worn out from lots of flying, saving lots of lives. I pulled out a group coin with 6230 on it for you, Chief. So I want to give that to you. And with that, I'm going to try to unmic without saying anything into the mic that I shouldn't. And we're going to honor the Chief today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Colonel Nelson. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the Meritorious Service Medal presentation. Attention to orders. Chief Master Sergeant Randall C. Becker distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States while assigned to the 920th Wing, 920th Maintenance Group, 920th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. During this period, Chief Master Sergeant Randall Becker led a 2 C-130 aircraft and 37-person maintenance team to the Horn of Africa to support Operation Enduring Freedom. Under his leadership, the unit achieved an outstanding 99.9% mission-capable rate, allowing 24/7 combat rescue capabilities in a highly volatile region. On the home front, Chief Master Sergeant Becker was instrumental in stressing safer, smarter aircraft maintenance, and as a result, decreased safety violations by a staggering 54% and ensured 100% ORM training compliance. In 2013, he led the 920th Maintenance Group and the Wing in the Operational Readiness Inspection, where his efforts as Maintenance Group Superintendent were key in the group receiving an excellent rating and being the first Air Combat Command Reserve unit to crush this challenging inspection on its very first try. Furthermore, his knowledge and experience were crucial in the pre-deployment planning of over 160 maintenance personnel and associated equipment as the maintenance group prepared to deploy for its 2014 expeditionary commitments. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Chief Becker culminate a long and distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Please remain standing as Colonel Nelson officially retires Chief Master Sergeant Becker.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force, Headquarters United States Air Force, Washington, D.C., Special Order Number EK4031, dated 9 May 2013. Chief Master Sergeant Randall C. Becker, you are relieved from your present reserve assignment, 920th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida, and retired per AFI 36-3203 and Title 10, United States Code, Section 914, in the grade of Chief Master Sergeant. On the date retired, 31 December 2013, you will be transferred to the Retired Reserve, and your name will be placed on the United States Air Force Reserve Retired List by order of the Secretary of the Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We are pleased to present you with a certificate of retirement. It reads, Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents, greeting. This is to certify that Chief Master Sergeant Randall C. Becker, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Air Force on the 31st day of December of the year 2013. Signed, Lieutenant General James F. Jackson, Chief of the Air Force Reserve, and signed, General Mark A. Welch III, Air Force Chief of Staff. Chief Becker, we are also pleased to present you with the following certificate of appreciation from the Commander-in-Chief, President Barack Obama. It reads, Certificate of Appreciation for Service in the Armed Forces of the United States of America. Chief Master Sergeant Randall Becker, I extend to you my personal thanks and the sincere appreciation of a grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You may have helped maintain the security of the nation during a critical time in its history with a devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of military service. Your commitment and dedication have been an inspiration for those who will follow in your footsteps, and for all Americans who join me today in saluting you for a job extremely well done. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future. Signed, Barack H. Obama, Commander-in-Chief. We would also like to present you with a letter from the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, James Cody. I am proud to join your friends and family in congratulating you on your retirement from the United States Air Force. The achievements and contributions you have made throughout your career are indicative of the core values of our great service. Your retirement is well deserved, but your selfless contributions will be sorely missed. On behalf of all airmen, thank you for your faithful and devoted service to our nation. As this chapter in your life closes and a new one begins, I hope for great memories and continued success. Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, James A. Cody. We also have a letter to you from the 920th Rescue Wing Commander. Chief Becker, on behalf of the Air Force and your many friends and associates, I extend best wishes to you upon your retirement. Your many years of dedicated service have set a prime example for all who have served with you. I hope you will always look back with pride and satisfaction on your contributions to the United States Air Force and to the 920th Base Group at Patrick Air Force Base. You have consistently demonstrated great talent, versatility, and dedication over a broad range of demanding responsibilities. The Air Force is grateful for all you have done. Please accept my personal thanks for your loyal service. I wish you success and happiness in the years ahead. Sincerely, Jerry.